I'm Azus, and this video is my thoughts on what Valve should do with the next Operation skins. It's not like they'd actually listen to me, but these are my thoughts on what they could do that would be the best for Counter-Strike. And the reason is that I think the skins associated with an operation actually have considerable influence on how much people play the game. The chance to get cool new skins, the chance to use cool new skins, in my opinion, gets people playing. So I think this is something that's pretty important, and I've got 5 things I think Valve could do that would increase the amount that people are playing. Oh, and if you'd like to be in the running to win 1 of 5 Factory New Desert Eagle Sunset Storms, check the link below. Otherwise we can get started. First and foremost, I think they should bring in some new collections. Basically, the last 3 operations have had the same 6 collections on rotation, and 2 of them in particular are starting to get a bit old, the Overpass collection and the Cash collection. There's nothing wrong with the skins in these collections, but they're not quite as flashy as a lot of the newer collections, and their prices really aren't quite as high at this point. So I would suggest leaving them off active rotation during the next operation. Personally, I'd remove the Chop Shop collection as well. It's a bit newer, but its prices also aren't quite what they used to be, and it is actually noteworthy that 2 of these collections have an M4A1S as their most expensive skin. I think that gun being nerfed hurt them, but I would replace these 3 collections with newer ones. What should be in these collections? Other than good looking skins, I guess that's self-evident. Well, that brings me to my next point. A new super rare orb. There's a lot of expensive skins out there, but when you think of expensive skins, there's 2 names that everyone thinks of, the Dragon Lore and the Medusa. They're not the most expensive skins out there, but they are some of the most hyped, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Look at the price history of the Dragon Lore over the last year, for example. It's gone up over the year, even though its collection was dropping during the entire middle of that graph, and there was also a massive drop in the player base, roughly during the same time. If we look at the Medusa, there's a bit of a drop around the end of the year, but it's still a pretty steady price. These skins bring demand. So, my suggestion, it's been about 2.5 years since the Medusa was brought out, and I reckon it's time for another super high tier orb. What does that mean? Well, basically it means that you're going to have an orb as a sole covert at the top of a collection with a single classified gun, which is also a highly desirable play skin in its own right, beneath it. This is the structure of the Dragon Lore and the Medusa. They've both got an M4 beneath it. Since we've got 2 M4s, I reckon maybe an AK should be the classified gun this time around. This means they both need to look cool as well, but I'll let someone who's actually an artist figure that out. It also means that we don't want more than 2 restricted skins in the collection, and I'll explain why in my next point. Cool looking restricted play skins in the new collections. One of the things that the Operation collections are well known for, at least by people who do a lot of trade-ups, is the different trade-ups you can do with the restricted skins in these collections. Throw in a bunch of blues from the Safe House collection or the Bank collection, 2 blue skins from an Operation collection, and you've got to trade up with a 1/3 chance of picking up something cool. You can do it super low float, you can do it at higher float. It's exciting, it gets people trading up skins, but there's 2 things necessary for this to work. First of all, the restricted skins actually need to be good looking and on desirable weapons. Skins like these work, and skins like these don't work so well. Secondly, something I've mentioned before, it's best to keep the number of skins at the restricted level of the collection to 2. And the reason why this is important is trade-ups. I know a lot of people assume that the game just randomly selects one of the skins you put into the trade-up to determine which collection it goes for, but it's not actually calculated like that. It's got a lot to do with the number of skins in the tier of the collection you're trying to trade up to. More than 2 in the restricted tier of the collection, and they actually become quite easy to trade up for, which reduces their value and also reduces the value of the skins above them as well. This is part of the reason for the difference in price between restricted Rising Sun skins and restricted Gods and Monsters skins. I should emphasize that it is only one. Obviously, the Medusa has an influence that the Orb Akihabara doesn't, but it's still an important factor. It's almost twice as easy to get a restricted Rising Sun skin as it is to get a restricted Gods and Monsters skin. Now, maybe having one more collection with 4 restricted skins, like the Rising Sun collection, is okay, but I think it's best not to have any more than that. and definitely not in the same collection that that super rare AWP is going to be. Now, a quick thing I do want to add before we go on to the fourth point. I've been talking a lot about increasing the prices of high tier skins, which might sound a bit alienating if you're not going to be able to afford something like that, so I'll quickly address this. Basically, if the prices of the skins at the top of the collection are inflated, the value will flow down through the collection. The prices of the cheaper skins you get as drops at the bottom of the collection will also be increased, and it'll also make cheaper trade-ups further down the collection more profitable. So everyone benefits. It's basically trickle-down economics. It might not work so well in the real world, but it definitely works in Counter-Strike. And with that, we're up to item 4, which is some sort of unique, extremely rare special item in the operation case. Operations don't just have unique collections, they also come with unique cases, and sometimes Valve releases them with unique, extremely rare special items. Provided it's actually a good item, it's a sorry fashion knife, you'll give people an additional reason to open these cases. You might say it's a bad reason considering how low the odds of getting an extremely rare special item are, but it's still a reason, and it'll get people playing for the case drops because the cases will be worth more. Now, it doesn't have to stay limited forever afterwards, but it should at least for a little while, and last operation, the Hydra case didn't have anything unique as its sort of extremely rare special item, and it was still a pretty good case. It's not essential, but I think it would have been better if it did have one, and I think the next operation case should. My final suggestion is that Valve should make sure they make the next operation case a rare drop after the operation ends, and also be clear at the start of the operation that this is going to happen. One of the big investment events in Counter-Strike recently, and as games age, investment opportunities gradually get rarer and rarer, so this was a fairly big deal, was the Hydra case being made a rare drop after the operation ended. Some people think it was a mistake by Valve. Personally though, I think there actually was a reason. I think what happened was it was removed because it was the least open case right around the end of the operation. Its price went up quite a bit around the end of Operation Hydra because less people were getting them as drops as the operation wound down, which probably meant less people were opening them, and Valve just seems to remove whichever case is being opened the least whenever they release a new one. This is still speculation, we don't know for sure, but regardless of the reason, I think this should be a thing, and Valve should state it up front at the start of the operation. If people know it's going to be removed up front, that'll get people trying to play to get all the drops possible, whether it's a weekly drop or a system more like the Hydra operation where there's a hard limit on how many drops you can get to begin with. It doesn't really matter, you'll have lots of people in-game trying to get XP to get the drop, and getting people to play the game more is the goal here. Ironically, this will probably mean that it won't be quite as great an investment in the long run, but at the end of the day, that's not really the point. So, those are my 5 ideas. I think these things would help increase the amount that people are playing the game during the next operation. Now, it probably won't bring in that many new players, but it should help with player retention, and the key to a growing game isn't just getting in new people, but keeping the existing players. Now, I imagine there's probably some people that think this might be a fairly unhealthy reason for people to be playing the game. Personally, I don't agree, but if you think that, let me know your opinion. I'm happy to hear it. Otherwise, don't forget to enter that giveaway. Trust the numbers, not your gut. I'm Jesus. Thanks for watching. See ya.